And thank you for joining us at the Life Mod podcast today with Dr. Gonzalez. We are no longer in our New York City studios. We are in Hawthorne, New Jersey at a world-class restaurant called the Artisan restaurant. For those of you who want to know exactly where we're at 142 Goffle Road in Hawthorne, New Jersey. And you might be wondering why we're here. Why are we, people are wondering? Why are we in Hawthorne? I'm going to tell you why. Recently, I met the owner, one of the co-owners of the Artisan, at one of our Drinks with the Doc events in Jersey City, New Jersey, and fell in love with not only him, but the concept of his restaurant and why we're doing what we're doing. And it was very aligned with the Life Mod philosophy and the Life Mod way. And so we were introduced by one of our coaches, one of our ambassadors, Carol Mancuso, who is in the audience today, and that introduction led to today, the podcast that we have here. And I had not met you today, but it's a pleasure to introduce to you Chef Howard, who is one of the co-owners of the Artisan, and I'm very excited. He's going to go ahead. You're going to talk about yourself and let us know where you're from and how how you came to meet Jeff and become the premier chef of the Artisan. But I just want to let you know that we're very excited to be here because from what I've heard and everything that I know about you, it's exactly what Life Mod is preaching and teaching. We are an American culture that is so full of disease. We are not healthy, and I would venture to say that about 80% of our dis-ease has to do with the way that we have become a culture of not enjoying, not experiencing the food intake. We have no idea where our food comes from. We just put food in our mouths and we have no idea where it comes from. Part of the human design with Life Mod is to try to teach people that every single time, it's what we call mindful eating, every single time they put something in their mouths, that they try to not only realize or figure out where that came from, who raised that broccoli or who raised that chicken, but to also enjoy it and take time to try to decipher the flavors. And as you go, invariably when you do this, studies have shown that people who mindful eat tend to be healthier people, and they also tend to be people who are less overweight and have all this disease. So having said all that, I'm very excited to introduce Chef Howard, co-owner of the Artisan, and just give us a little background about your where you're from and how you got to where you're at today. Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm from North Hilden, New Jersey, next town over originally. I was born in Patterson, New Jersey, the next town over on the other side of us.
Very close.
So I grew up in a restaurant family. My family owns a restaurant business in Wayne, New Jersey. They no longer have it, but I've been a foodie since I was a little kid. I also had the pleasure of spending a small time in my childhood growing up in Greece, say 1973 to 1979 when I came back here.
Where in Greece were you?
I was in an island called Kefalonia.
Okay.
Kefalonia is actually located between Italy and Greece. So we're in the Ionian Sea. And I grew up on a farm. I grew up, and my aunts and my uncles and everybody that was associated with our Horio, as they call it, which is your village. Everybody was a farmer, and everybody worked together to make sure that we were all taken care of. And there was a farm to table concept before farm to table was even around.
Yeah.
This concept has been around for millions of years. I mean, we're all hunter gatherers, foragers.
Human design.
Okay. I'll take human design.
Yeah.
But we always, anything that was seasonal is what we ate. And then, in 1979, I come to the United States, which, is the greatest country in the world, if you ask me, or you ask my father. But something was different about the way we ate. I was eating watermelon in December. I was eating canned peaches year round. Little did I know anything about, high fructose corn syrup or substitutes and additives. They had nothing. All I knew is I was indulging life to its grandest. This was amazing, and this was, top of the world.
Right.
It wasn't until later on that I actually left New Jersey. I went to culinary school in Manhattan. I worked in Manhattan, and as every other kid from New Jersey goes to Manhattan, he finds out that you can't afford to work in Manhattan and and commute back and forth. So I came back into New Jersey. I started working in some local restaurants, and I just wasn't happy with what we were serving. You know, I somehow deep inside of me, I always wanted to get back to the roots of what we were doing. Growing up as a kid, having the family meal, having the sit-down dinner. You know, dinner should not be a half hour long or 40 minutes long. You shouldn't be rushed. You need time to sit down, relax, enjoy, kibitz, talk, do the social thing. You know, it's the gathering time at your table. It's what a lot of us grew up with, even here, you know, in the 60s and the 70s. 5 o'clock, you know, dad came home, you sat down, no matter, you know, who you were, everybody sat at the table, and you spent an hour and a half talking about what happened today.
Exactly.
We lost that value.
Yep, we have.
It's gone.
Yep, we definitely have.
And, you know, fast food and the commercial, industrial food chains out there, whether it's Romano Macaroni Grill or Bennigan's, Houlihan's, Olive Garden, they've changed that in the American market. Okay? And we need to start looking at bringing it back. I just finally ended up having to, getting off point for a second, I had to leave New Jersey.
There's no off point here, by the way. We're excited with what you're saying.
I knew that I was not going to get the education or the training I needed at 20 years old to find the food I wanted to do. So I left here. You know, I didn't want to work out of a deep fryer my entire life. You know, if I was going to work out of a deep fryer, I might as well go buy McDonald's or a Wendy's.
Right. Which we can talk about later.
But anyway, so I traveled around the country for a little bit. You know, I just saw a whole bunch of different cuisines, and you know, I kind of fell in love with, you know, Las Vegas, where I spent 16 years of my life, because it was like New York. It was so multicultural and so diverse in the food industry. And yeah, I mean, on one block you had anything from a Chinese restaurant to a Mexican restaurant to a Vietnamese restaurant to, you know, a Malaysian restaurant. I mean, you could just go on and on and on.
Right.
And as you walk into these places, you know, you start to see that comfort and that home, you know, hominess of just vegetables are at the forefront, and grains are at the forefront, and proteins are at the least. And then working on the strip in these huge casinos, you're working with, you know, some of the world-class chefs from around the world. And if you see their philosophy as well was protein is second on a plate. You know, dairy is a condiment on a plate. It's not, you know, it's not a 36-ounce steak and a 1-pound potato with a half a cup of sour cream. And then here's your check, have a good day. Or better yet, if you want some béarnaise sauce, here's some hollandaise sauce. Fat on top of fat on top of fat.
Yeah.
Just masks everything. It makes everything taste great.
Of course.
Okay? So, you know, you walk in any place, I mean, I'll go 5 blocks to the left, 5 blocks to the right. I'm going to find 10 places that fry their food, top it with some kind of a fat or cheese, and they serve it to you for $18, $19, $20, $25, and you feel full.
Right.
You got a pound of pasta sitting on top of a piece of fried meat, sitting on top of some kind of sauce.
Right.
High-fat sauce. It's not what our bodies were meant to consume.
And then we're just guzzling it down. We're not doing anything to enjoy it.
Couldn't agree more. And, you know, what are you guzzling it down with? You're guzzling it down with an ice-cold beer or an ice-cold, which there's nothing wrong with beer.
I like him.
You're
Drinks with the doc.
You're guzzling it down with an ice-cold product.
Right.
Which is the worst thing your body needs.
Right.
While you're eating
hot food. Because now, exactly. Now you're going to actually, you know, save it and store it as fat. I'm being told, I mean, this is fascinating, and I'm being told that we need to take a break. And we're going to come back to our next segment. Thank you, Chef Howard.
You're listening to the LifeMod Podcast with Dr. Gonzalez. For more information on LifeMod, go to lifemod.com.
And welcome back to our second episode of the LifeMod Podcast with Dr. Gonzalez. I am Dr. Gonzalez. And now I am joined with my man, Jeff Wozniack, who is the co-owner of Artisan Kitchen and Bar. And I was just told that really the name of your restaurant is Artisan Kitchen and Bar.
That's correct.
And I think on the first episode I called it the Artisan. So we want to make sure that we got that taken care of. And actually, I'm inviting everyone, all our LifeMod members, to go on our website, their website actually. It's artisankitchenandbar.com. And just to ask you, the and, is that an actual word? A-N-D?
Actually, the website is artisankitchenbar.com.
Okay, artisankitchenbar.com. So please go ahead and look you guys up, because we're very excited to be here. I just finished our first episode with your amazing chef.
I was going to say the same thing. The amazing Chef Howard. Chef
Howard was amazing. And one of the things that I really loved about what he said is, and you were present as the audience member, he was really vocal and very eloquent when he was telling us about how why he decided to do what he's doing, and he realizes that people no longer enjoy food and no longer look at it as an experience. They basically, in America, we just sit down as something that we have to do. We gobble food, and it's full of fat, and because it's full of fat, it tastes good, and no one really takes that sort of care and extra step to make it healthy and make it an experience. And I met you 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was very impressed with what you are doing here in Hawthorne, and there's not a lot of we get asked a lot to do these things, but we don't go out a lot because we have to kind of make sure that philosophy is aligned with LifeMod, and yours is, and that's why we're so excited to be here and help you, promote you, and I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about how you got here and a bit about your restaurant and what the vision is going forward.
Sure. Okay. All right. So, nice to see you again, Dr. Gonzalez.
I'm here.
It was
Thank you.
A breath of fresh air
Same
to
here.
meet you at your recent discussion in Jersey City. And I felt very aligned to your principles and what you're trying to bring to the public. My background, just to give you a little bit of history.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. I grew up similar to Howard in a family business, and Howard and I have a lot in common. We've known each other for a very long time, and it was a interesting discussion for us to realize we're going to go into business together, because we know that business can be the cause of a lot of issues and potential disruptions to a relationship, but we're solid, and
We're past that.
well, no, but it's important to have that open
Oh,
communication.
absolutely.
But one of the things we have in common is coming from a family business and being part of that and understanding that there's a lot of challenges associated with working with family members. And Howard and I consider ourselves to be brothers. We're that close.
That's great.
And knowing each other since we were kids and so forth. But my background as far as business goes is contract packaging to the pharmaceutical world as well as healthcare. And in that, started as a very small business which grew into one of the largest privately held contract packaging companies in the United States currently today. Not held by the family any longer, but with that experience, I was able to learn all the ins and outs about business. And coming from an entrepreneurial family and being around a lot of entrepreneurs, realized that the only way to freedom, if you will, is to be out on your own and to create something. So I've taken that experience and realized several years ago that I wanted to do something on my own, and I started a first business was a wine import distribution business because I had a passion for wine, making wine and enjoying wine and all the adventure associated with that. And then from there, I began to learn about diet and how diet has a profound effect on our state of being, how we feel, our mood, our health, obviously. And I got introduced to juicing from a couple of friends. And at the same time, Howard was on the other side of the country in Las Vegas, was also going through the same revelation of diet has a profound effect on us as a population, and we're all sick. I mean, 70% of the American population is just about 70%, 69% according to the CDC is overweight or obese.
Or the next classification is morbidly obese, and now there's another classification called the supersize.
Supersize.
Yes.
So they got that from McDonald's.
They did, actually.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about that. So these are things that are just mind-blowing. But during this time frame, this is 7 or 8 years ago, my parents both became sick with cancer. And which you're a doctor and you have, but we all know someone with cancer now. I mean, everyone, it seems to know someone or have a family member or friend that is going through cancer treatment, chemo, radiation, and so forth. These are very, very difficult remedies treatments to endure, and they make the body sick in other ways. But in doing some research, being introduced to the juicing, being introduced and doing our own personal research on diet and how diet correlates to disease, and how the proper diet can reverse disease and prevent disease and all this, we're able to get to a point where more people need to understand this. And the only way that's going to happen is through education,
Absolutely.
through bridging the gap and teaching people that they need to know where their ingredients come from. They need to reduce the animal proteins. They need to have a larger portion of a plant-based diet. And it's not that difficult to do.
It's not. It's easy, and that I'm just very passionate that you are sharing the same passion, because you almost don't you want to just get on top of like a pulpit and be like, I can help you in this country to be healthier. We can reverse diabetes. We can reverse hypertension.
We can reverse it.
We can reverse so many things. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's funny. What you're saying is exactly what we always preach, and this is why we're here, and this is why we need to have a relationship. When we have like-minded people, that's really the only way we're going to be able to change the world, because it's through education. So yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the big element here, is bridging the gap with knowledge, with information, getting it out to as many people as you possibly can, and the only way to do that is to have a venue. A restaurant is a venue. Howard had mentioned before, we have an organic juice company, Super Juice Nation, which we're looking to make that a grander business that can communicate to more people on a national level. And it's simple things. It's just changing the habits that you have become accustomed to. A lot of that is through education that you've already received. Eat these foods, drink lots of milk, have lots of dairy, eat lots of meat. Yes, high protein, it sustains you, but it's inflammatory. Inflammation is the beginning of disease.
Right,
possibly,
very good.
Right? I mean,
you're absolutely right.
And this is why I like talking to you, because you put the science behind my experience, our experience. So we've learned these things and we've practiced them personally, and are able to feel the benefits and see the benefits with others that have experienced it. But there's a science element there that I don't know about, and this is important. So now we can back it up with the real, truth behind why you should be incorporating, healthier dietary measures. So
yeah, I hate to interrupt you again, because everything that you're saying is exactly what we teach, and all the people who are here today are LifeMod, and what we do is we always we know the science and we're trying to teach the science, but it's so boring to tell people the science, right? It's like a patient, I'm like, well, you really need to do this, but when people start to hear you need to do this, you have to do that, they're tuned out. And immediately they tune out, because no one wants to be told how to live. But if we can show them that you can enjoy life, you can, enjoy dinner and foods that are delicious, that are nutritious, that are going to actually keep you from being sick, that are actually going to reverse your diabetic rates. There's no reason why we should not every morning wake up with an amount high energy and go through the whole day with this amount of energy. That's what we're designed to do. We should be able to do that. But because we're in this society that is a high fat and high everything that's really bad, fructose and everything.
High processed and
highly processed
cheap food.
We're tired, and then we're surprised about that. This is why we're here.
We don't know better.
But we don't know better, and that's why. We're obviously going to be such a big force, and I'm so excited. Such a big force that we're going to end this segment, and we need a third segment to take on this force. I think on the next segment we might invite Chef Howard.
I think we should do that.
I think we should.
Watch out.
Watch out. Thank you.
You'll listen to the LifeMod podcast with Dr. Gonzalez. You can follow us on Twitter at LifeModNYC, and we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/LifeMod.
And welcome back to our third segment of the LifeMod podcast with Dr. Gonzalez. I am Dr. Gonzalez, and I am now joined. I brought the three amigos together. Actually, the two amigos. Well, we're three now. Hola. I know we on our first segment, Chef Howard and I had a good conversation about food concepts, conceptualizing food, and actually be mindful eaters, and then we talked about how you guys' restaurant, and we're Artisan Kitchen and Bar in Hawthorne, New Jersey. How you guys why you're here, and how you became very passionate about the American healthcare system and how we can actually totally revolutionize that. And so now I brought both of you together because I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to have both of you kind of go back and forth, but I do want to just talk a little bit about your friendship and how you guys got to know each other, and then this is key, because really this is your segment. This is Artisan Kitchen and Bar segment, and I want you guys to tell every single person out there who's listening to us today, what you guys want to do at this beautiful restaurant in Hawthorne, New Jersey, and what you plan to accomplish going forward. So I guess I'll just have whoever wants to start talking about where your plans are here, what your future plans are with the restaurant.
You go, I go.
Go ahead, Howard.
I see this place.
Just hold on to your mic right there, my man. Thank you very much.
I see this place as being. Just right now we know what the market we're competing in. We're competing in an uneducated market. And what I mean by that is I don't mean any offense to anybody in particular, but the American consumer does not know what they're eating. They've been brainwashed. There's just been so much oversight on what is the right thing.
They've become accustomed to certain styles of cooking and culinary.
Absolutely. I mean, we can talk about this for weeks and years. Look at one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life is people calorie counting.
I totally agree with you.
I feel like.
Do we not say that all the time in Life Mod? It's not. Calorie counting makes people overweight.
If I have 2 Big Macs, I just reach my calories for the day.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I can have 6 small nutrition meals and just monitor my carbs. Carbs are the most important things that we consume, and is what gives us the energy, and also puts us to sleep. If we consume the right carbohydrates, we're off to the races. If we consume the wrong carbohydrates, we're off to the remote control. Okay? And
like that.
Listen.
We're gonna use that on our podcast.
Absolutely, go for it. It's all yours. But I've lived a life of gluttony. I've lived a life of just self-abuse when it comes. There's no secret that in the kitchen you got the largest drug abuse, the largest alcohol abuse, the largest food abuse. It's all there for us. It's all there for the taking, and it's free for us. So I've abused the hell out of my body. It wasn't until I was about 40 years old. 40 years old, I was diagnosed with a blood disorder. Okay, and a doctor had to sit me down and straighten me out because he said I was going to die in 5 to 10 years. Keep going the way you're going to go, you're going to die. So I changed my lifestyle, and I changed it for the better, and I feel better for it. Okay, but
Congratulations, that's great.
I realized that everybody around me is still doing the same thing I was taught, and for some reason we forgot that we're not only chefs, but we're also educators, and we need to start pushing the message of what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
Okay, and it's easy for me to come into work every day and check the register and see how much I made last night, but what damage am I causing? What damage am I causing to my guests? What damage am I causing to my customers? So how do I go to bed at night thinking like that? So, and that's one of the main reasons I partnered up with Jeff. Jeff has got the whole business philosophy behind him, and he's got the whole health philosophy behind him. He's not only my best friend, but he's a great partner. Okay.
This is the
we'll hug
later.
We'll hug it out later. Yeah. Am I included? Okay.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
You're gonna be around all day, so that's good.
So we know the market that we're competing in today, and we got to give them a little bit of what they want to get them to understand. Once they eat a pure apple, or once they eat true, heirloom broccoli, or once they eat, garlic that wasn't shipped in from China, we now get them to understand, and then they can start buying into the philosophy of, let's go down to the farmer down the street who may not be able to afford that USDA organic stamp on his packaging or his labeling, but he's getting up every morning at 4 or 5 o'clock and doing the right thing. Okay, and that philosophy not only for us pushes, explaining that to the guest or the customer, not only pushes just in the food area, but it also pushes. Think about it. People go out to drink. People love to consume alcohol. Our alcohol choices have to be clean alcohol choices.
Right.
I mean, think about the chemicals. You know, I don't understand why alcohol is the only thing that does not list ingredients. If you buy anything over the shelf, it has to list ingredients.
Right.
Why does alcohol not list what's in there?
Yeah, why is it exempt from that? That's how we met, actually, right? When we had a Drinks with a Doc event where we talked exactly, it's as if you were there, but you weren't. But on the next one, you have to come out, because that's exactly what we're talking about. We were listing the ingredients about, and what we should know what we're drinking, and you're absolutely right.
So it's every product that we consume as a food, liquor, beverage, so many of them have these chemicals in them, ingredients that are counter to positive health, health promoting. So as far as, we're talking alcohol quick, our bar actually is designed to be made from distillers that are passionate. The food is grown from farmers that are passionate. These are people that really care about what they're doing and putting in people's mouths, and it's in a healthy direction. But there's not one spirit behind that bar that has artificial color. What's it? Polyglycol, which is a very common, ingredient in beverages. So that's like the fundamental. So yes, we need to create a positive experience, a service dining experience, a great food experience, and that food experience is rooted upon healthy ingredients. And Howard doesn't give himself enough credit, in my opinion, as to his style of cooking. I've never seen it before. I mean, I'm learning every day these amazing ingredients, which I'm all about the plant-based diet.
Right.
But these neat, this purple cauliflower and all these neat little things that maybe you would have found in Grandpa's garden.
Right,
that
right.
kind of thing. And this place is flooded with them. But his cooking style is very simple. Very few ingredients. Let the flavors of each ingredient come together and harmonize. Don't overcook the vegetables. And then by doing that, they're healthier because you didn't cook out all the nutrients. So they're more nutrient dense.
Right.
Smaller portions of the animal protein. Very limited use of dairy and butter.
Now, did you guys have that conversation before? I mean, I'm sure you did, but did you tell him this is what we're gonna do? We're gonna be different, because you are different. You are different. This is why we're here, because we're so excited to make sure that people know that there are these alternatives. I think people, as you were saying earlier, are not educated because they don't know that a place like this, Artisan Kitchen and Bar, exists. They have no idea that there's so many choices. You go a block that way, a block this way. There's restaurants, but no one's doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So did you guys have that conversation?
I think Jeff and I both came to light together. I mean, although we were two different continents, we both realized, hey, listen. I mean, I'm 44 years old. Jeff is 40 years old.
42.
43. Okay, we're getting older. Our bodies are not operating the way they did when we were in high school. They're not operating the way they did when we were 25, 30 years old. And we watch everybody around us. They're getting sick. They're dying. My father's got diabetes. My mother's obese. There's something wrong here, and it's the way we've been programmed. There's only one reason why we shut down. I mean, think about it. You put the wrong ingredients or the wrong gasoline or the wrong oil in your car, it breaks down. Our body's a motor, and it's what goes into it is what we get out of it. There's a reason why people sit on the couch all day. There's a reason why people are supersized. Okay? There's a reason why. And it's
Absolutely.
Because the corporate world and the food industry has done a great job at making Americans stupider at what they eat.
Well, it's so easy to get a $5 burger.
So easy.
A milkshake.
That's what I'm saying.
A mocha latte. It's packed with, by the way, some artificial ingredients.
Dumbing down America.
Yeah, and it's cheap,
right,
inexpensive, and delicious. At the moment you ingest that, it's
dumbing
wonderful.
down America. It's delicious. I was just, because we're gonna have to end the segment. We can go on for hours, literally. Just to your point about juicing, because we were in Jersey City. We have a LifeMod office in one of the gyms. One of the gyms that what they have in there, they have a protein shake, supposedly healthy. We actually dissected what's on that protein shake, and it was something like 650 calories of a lot of high fructose. High fructose. So this is like really unbelievable that sometimes you have no idea what you're consuming. You think it's okay, but it all goes back to that education. Super excited that you guys invited us here. I hope you're excited that we invited you into our podcast. And again, for those of you out there, it's artisankitchenandbar.com.
Yes.
Can you give us your phone number, please?
It's 973-310-3333.
I'm telling you, if those of you who are just listening to us, if you're in Manhattan, which are bigger bases, you have to take the drive. It's a beautiful drive.
We're 30 minutes from the GW or Lincoln Tunnel.
Come down here, 142 Goffle Road in Hawthorne, New Jersey. I do want to give a shout out to 4 people who are here today. So hi guys, our audience. The person that made this happen was really Carol Mancuso. So we're very excited. She's one of our ambassadors. Please, if you want to know more about Artisan Kitchen and Bar, we are now www.lifemod.com, and you can get a hold of some information from there.
Very good.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Doctor.